You are live in the CNN newsroom. I'm Jim Acosta in Washington, and we begin this hour on a day meant for unity and celebration, but we have to face the truth that America is certainly divided this 4th of July. What should unite us only seems to further divide us, and the line between fact and fiction gets blurrier by the day. The Capitol insurrection, who incited it, who is responsible for it, is a perfect example. The truth is, a violent mob tried to overthrow democracy on behalf of a former president and his lies, and there's no shortage of people who still refuse to believe that. Here's a case in point. Down at the border last week, I asked Donald Trump if he would ever apologize for January 6th.
Mr. Trump, will you apologize about January 6th?
It may or may not surprise you that those were GOP members booing along with their staffers. But before all that booing, I asked some of them why they still associate with Donald Trump after he incited that violent insurrection. One of those congressmen, North Carolina's Madison Cawthorn, told me he still believes the election was stolen. Of course, it wasn't. But listen to how some of these Republican lawmakers still consider Trump the leader of their party. What are your thoughts on associating yourself with the former president after he gave that speech on January 6th and provoked an insurrection at the Capitol? Why associate yourself with him?
Well, I think, Jim, you and I both know that I completely disagree with that assertion. The complete premise of that question is that he invoked an insurrection. I don't believe that's what happened whatsoever. I think he spoke at a rally. I think what happened on January 6th was despicable, and the people should be prosecuted that broke the law. But I genuinely don't believe that there was any kind of provocation from anybody who spoke that day.
But he had been telling the big lie for weeks, and he continues to lie about the election. Why continue to associate? Why not find another standard bearer for the party?
Well,
maybe
Jim,
you could be a standard bearer for the party down the road.
You know what? I do look forward to being the future of the Republican Party, but I will tell you, I think Donald Trump is leading the way on that. And I think you and I know that we have a complete disagreement. I do believe the election was stolen, and
You believe the election? You still believe the election was stolen?
I still believe the election.
Where's the proof of that?
Well, you know what? I think there was plenty of proof if you look through Wisconsin, if you look through a lot of the states that I personally contested to.
But it was all rejected by the courts, including Trump-appointed judges and the Supreme Court.
I believe the judicial system failed us.
And let me ask you, why continue to associate yourself with the former president after he lied about the election? There was an insurrection on January 6th. Why continue to associate yourself with former President Trump when you can find other Republican leaders to come down to the border with?
President Trump was the most effective president of my lifetime. And what we're here today to talk about is a cornerstone of his legacy. His policies secured the border. The Biden policies have opened the border wide open, creating a humanitarian crisis unlike anything we've ever seen before.
Right. So
I'm chairman of the Republican Study Committee, the largest conservative caucus on Capitol Hill. We embrace the Trump agenda, especially on border security.
Do you see him as the leader of the party right now? Do you see him as the leader of your party?
He is a leader of the party. I like to think that I'm a leader in our party. There are many leaders in our party, but a Republican Study Committee, we're focused on policy. The Trump policies worked, and especially when as related to the border.
What about when you say Trump policies on the border? What about the family separation policy? Should that come back?
Well, what you're seeing, the policies specifically that the Biden administration have implemented, and the Trump policies they've repealed, have created a humanitarian crisis unlike anything we've seen before. There's no other way to put it. There are substantially more families separated, children separated from their parents crossing the border today than there ever were on Donald Trump's watch.
You don't think it's inappropriate to be here with the former president, given his role in January 6th, given how he lied so much about the election? I've known you a long time. You've served in Congress a long time. That doesn't bother you?
You know, we can always ask questions like, should anybody be with Bill Clinton after the things he did, including pointing his finger and lying and covering up? I think the reason we're here is Governor Abbott is showing leadership, and governors all over the country are rallying with Governor Abbott to recognize that there is an invasion.
Now, Donald Trump refused to take our questions, and he bolted from the press after his border photo op. He was surrounded by an entourage of staffers and Secret Service agents who are still providing his protection, paid for with U.S. tax dollars. He appeared to still be enjoying the trappings of the presidency, almost pretending he is still president despite his actions before leaving office. And joining me now is